Fame. Listen, there's a lot of NBA players in NBA 2K21 that have gold badges. When you have a gold badge, that means you're pretty good at something. Like if you have gold catch and shoot, that means you're really good at catching and shooting. But Hall of Fame, there's only a select few that have Hall of Fame anything in 2K. And in this video, I want to talk about the players that have a Hall of Fame badge that nobody else in the NBA has. And I'll give you the first example so you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. But que pasa to the pack? It is Pack here,
AKA your mama's best friend.
back with another roster video for you guys. Before this video starts, be an OG, join the pack, and subscribe. Let's get to 300,000 subscribers. We've been grinding to that. Help this channel out, and let's get there, baby. So, I'm going to start off at number 1, and this is technically an honorable mention because it's 2 players that have the same badge. I know I'm already cheating, but we're going to start off with Acrobat. So, Giannis Antetokounmpo has Acrobat on Hall of Fame. Interesting one. I mean, he does slash and dunk in the paint a lot. I would have thought he had like Posterize on Hall of Fame, or I don't know, maybe Rise Up, but like Acrobat, interesting. I guess he does do Euro steps, spin moves. You could say that he does do that kind of stuff, so I guess it makes sense why he has Acrobat on Hall of Fame. It makes sense that Giannis has that, but there's also one other player in the NBA has Acrobat on Hall of Fame, and that is the legendary James Harden. Also has Acrobat on Hall of Fame. Kind of makes sense to me. I mean, he also does, he's pretty known for his Euro step, so you gotta give him credit where credit is due, and yeah, I think that makes sense. But we can talk about James Harden for a while because he's one of the only players in the NBA that have 3 Hall of Fame badges that nobody else has, and that's actually really crazy. So he has volume shooter on Hall of Fame. So volume shooter is basically the more shots you shoot, the more shots you make. It has a higher chance of making more shots. And James Harden is definitely a streaky kind of player. For example, J.R. Smith, when he was in the league, had Hall of Fame volume shooter because when he started hitting, he started hitting. There's other players though that I think probably deserve this badge as well, but they didn't give it to him. But James Harden's the only player in the NBA that has volume shooter. But there's another badge at number 3 that James Harden has that nobody else has in the league. And you probably know what it is. Space Creator. This dude's step back is one of the deadliest, not only in the NBA, but in history. This guy, step back, can hit. He's even inspired me to put step backs in my game because it just works. Because people are so threatened by you driving. When you're hesitating and then do a step back, you created the space and it's an open jumper. And then James Harden does double step backs that aren't travels that nobody else can even replicate in the NBA. So yeah, Hall of Fame, all those things. He has 3 different Hall of Fame badges, making him one of the most skilled players in the NBA. Which is, there's a reason why he was, an MVP, right? But we have other players in the NBA at number 4 that have multiple badges. Kyrie Irving, Uncle Drew, philosopher of the NBA, who's actually playing amazing. Him and James Harden have been winning a lot of games lately with the Nets without Kevin Durant. It's super impressive. Hall of Fame ankle breaker. Well, duh. Nobody has handles like Kyrie Irving. And as you can imagine, all these badges I'm talking about are about handles. Ankle breaker, dude is snapping people's souls out of their lives. And I mean, Kyrie Irving just been known for that. There's very few people that even have ankle breaker in Hall of Fame ever in history. And Kyrie Irving's one of them and the only player in the NBA that has it. So, I mean, 100% expected. Another one at number 5 for still Kyrie Irving is handles for days. Of course it is. Kyrie Irving can dribble as long as he wants and this man won't get tired. This badge is kind of ridiculous, to be honest. I mean, no NBA player starts dribbling and goes after a couple dribbles. It just doesn't make any sense. So I think this is a ridiculous badge in the first place, but Kyrie Irving has handles for days more than anybody else in the NBA, which is cool. And finally, the last badge that Kyrie Irving has and nobody else has on Hall of Fame is tight handles. It's kind of like ankle breaker, but instead of breaking someone's ankles whenever you do a move, the separation it creates when you're doing a move in dribble situations created more than anybody else. It's not Space Creator, but they're very identical. But the difference is instead of doing a motion to shot, this is more of a motion to another dribble move, and that's what Kyrie Irving can do better than anybody else. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. At number 7 on this list, we have the best player in the NBA, at least in our generation, LeBron James. Hall of Fame dimer. This dude, when he passes the ball, he just helps other people get buckets. And let's just be honest, there's no player ever in NBA history that has been put on a team and can do more with less. There's nobody. LeBron James can carry anybody, and we've seen that in history, and it's because that man got a dimer on Hall of Fame. This dude will help you get buckets and probably the best playmaker of our era. But LeBron has another badge. At number 8 on this list is LeBron has chase down artist. LeBron James gets 1 chase down block in the NBA Finals, which was probably the greatest block in NBA history, of course you're gonna get this badge. Of course you are. You automatically get to keep this forever. You can never get another chase down block ever again, and you're gonna have this badge for the rest of your life. But LeBron James is actually known for his chase down blocks, and this is probably the only player in this entire list that has a Hall of Fame badge on offense and also on defense. And that makes LeBron James special. And that's probably why he's one of the greatest ever. That kind of makes sense. So one other player, and actually might be a surprise for you, that has multiple Hall of Fame badges that nobody else has in the NBA is Rudy Gobert, multiple Defensive Player of the Year. And you could even argue could be Defensive Player of the Year this season if he really wanted to. Rudy Gobert clamps, specifically though at the rim protector on Hall of Fame. Nobody else even comes close to Rudy Gobert in the way that he's able to stop people from scoring in the post. There's a reason why they have one of the best defenses in the NBA, the Jazz do, and it starts with their best center, who is one of the best defenders in the NBA. I don't know about history. I guess you could argue he's one of the greatest defenders in history, just because, I mean, the titles alone he has of Defensive Player of the Years. But yeah, rim protector on Hall of Fame, easy. And there's another one which makes sense to me, and that is post move lockdown on Hall of Fame as well. Not only can he protect the paint, but he can make sure you're not going to do some stupid move on him, like a post hook, like a drop step, or whatever. Rudy Gobert is really good at stopping people. Not only because he's 7'1", but his length is insane. Pause. And just, yeah, Rudy Gobert is different. All right, so these next three, so I'm going to start with number 11, are players that have badges that nobody else has, but they're kind of not playing, so So the first one is Klay Thompson. He has Green Machine on Hall of Fame. Klay Thompson has been injured this season, so we can't see this dude get another crazy scoring nights because he just shoots threes, maybe better than anybody, right next to Curry, obviously. Yeah, Green Machine on Hall of Fame. This is kind of like volume shooter. So, and you could argue that Klay Thompson does get kind of streaky. Like once he hits, he starts hitting, man. It is what it is. This is another definition of volume shooter. So I guess you could give it to Klay Thompson for sure. One of the best forms in the NBA, maybe even NBA history. Like this dude just hits. So yeah, not even a debate there. At number 12 on this list, we have another player that has not played this season, Kevin Love, with Hall of Fame break starter. Yeah, Kevin Love has been known for his touchdown passes in the NBA, where he can just catch it, inbound it, and yeet it to the other side of the court for a perfect dime. Kevin Love can do that better than anybody, but he's been injured, and who knows if he's going to come back to the NBA and play, because he's been pretty injured pretty hard for a while now, and he's been slowly getting worse over time, so who knows what happens with Kevin Love. But NBA champion, amazing passer, at least in fast break situations, and he absolutely deserves that badge. Nobody's even come close to him. And finally, we're going to stick with the Cavaliers. At number 13 is Andre Drummond with Worm Hall of Fame. I'm surprised he does not have any other badge Hall of Fame in the rebounding department. This is the best rebounder in the NBA, and he only has one Hall of Fame rebounding badge, and that's Worm. Not only can he box people out, but he can make sure he doesn't get boxed out and sneak past people and get rebounds. The only other player that ever had Worm on Hall of Fame is the Worm, Dennis Rodman. So that's actually pretty elite company for Andre Drummond, but the Cavs literally don't want to play him because they're like, we don't know what we want to do with you. But still, one of the greatest rebounders ever. Now, there's two more. These players only have one Hall of Fame badge, but are currently playing. At number 14, we have Kawhi Leonard, clamps on Hall of Fame. Duh. One of the best defenders we've ever seen, at least in the perimeter end. This man will actually make you pick up the ball. I mean, you got 3 players on this team that have clamps, at least on gold, which is terrifying. But Kawhi does better than anybody else in the league, and we've seen that time and time again throughout his career. Obviously, right? And finally at number 15, actually kind of a shocker to me. Steph Curry only has one shooting badge on Hall of Fame. Steph Curry, not catch and shoot, not volume shooter, not green machine, not difficult shots. Deadeye. Deadeye is the badge that he has on Hall of Fame. I mean, yeah, Curry makes some pretty stupid contested shots, but like limitless range, I mean, there's a lot of badges that I think Curry should have Hall of Fame, but they gave him just Deadeye Hall of Fame. You could argue he should have every shooting badge on Hall of Fame, but it is what it is. And that is the 15 badges that nobody else has on Hall of Fame in the NBA. What do you think with 2K? Who needs to be updated? Leave it in the comments below. And if you like this channel, give it a sub. And I'll see you guys next time.